Hey everybody, so I decided to do something kind of fun. Some of you may have seen these on Facebook. Seems like people are doing this thing where they list their top 10 favorite films from each letter of the alphabet. So you do one a day, one letter a day. Instead of doing it just on Facebook for, a couple of people to see, I was like, you know what, that's actually something that I'm going to do in a video because I'm hoping some of you can also join in and have a little bit of fun with me. And hopefully before I get to the end of the alphabet, this whole quarantine virus thing is hopefully behind us by that point. That's my goal in all this. So here are 10 of my favorite films. Let's start with the letter A. And I decided to just go ahead and do these also in alphabetical order. So first up is The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, a film I think is absolutely hilarious, very highly quotable, and in certain ways, depending on who you're with, or if you're by yourself, obviously it's okay. But it's also one I've watched countless times. In fact, I watched it not too long ago, and it still holds up no matter how many times I watch it. Here is another of my favorite comedies, and that is Airplane. Again, one of the most off-the-wall comedies ever made, and one that is also, I find, very highly rewatchable, and as hilarious as it was the first time I watched it, I swear it's almost gotten funnier as the years roll on and the more times I've watched it, which to me is a sign of a great comedy. Next up is Akira, and this is the film that introduced me to anime. Even though I'm not a massive anime fan, it definitely introduced me to what anime really is, and also to really, in essence, a more adult animation, R-rated animation. And in my opinion, it's also one of the most amazing animated films I've ever seen. Next up is Alien, and we all know how amazing Alien is. I don't think there's anything I need to add to it. Alien is an amazing film, and yeah. Next up is Amadeus, and I absolutely love Amadeus, and one of the things I love about it is that I think it really showcases how obsessive us weird creative types can be, almost to a fault. Not only obsess about ourselves, but also become obsessed with someone else's talent, and also almost like the jealousy in it. But also the interesting thing about Amadeus is that it also showcases how sometimes with someone who is creative in the same field, recognizing that that person is not only talented, but my goodness, they are like a genius. It's always interesting to me when people say like, I can't watch it, it's so boring, and yet to me it's completely engrossing. Next on the list is An American Werewolf in London, and as I mentioned before, I absolutely love the film. It's my favorite werewolf film. I've watched it, I can't tell you how many times. I've gushed over it enough in other videos, so I won't do it here. I will say, even since I've gotten that Arrow Blu-ray set from, was it back in October or whatever? I've already watched the film like several times even since then. That's how much I love it. Probably one of the best war films ever made, and that is Apocalypse Now. One that I think sort of captures almost the bizarre craziness of war, but also a film that is almost unlike anything else. It's almost like hyper-realistic and surreal and like all these different elements, and it is just absolutely stunning. I mean, you're almost amazed the film actually got made, and obviously if you know all the trouble that went into trying to even make it, so watch Hearts of Darkness. That's a amazing documentary on it. So yeah, it's definitely just, it's a mind-blowing film. Here's one that I put on the list and I was like, well, maybe I'll take it off, but actually kept it on, and that is Apollo 13. And that's a film it's a prime example of a film that, even though you know the ending, it still makes everything else before it work. Like, it's very suspenseful and exciting and emotional even a little bit. I think it's a good example, especially for a film, that even if you already know where something ends, the journey to get there is actually the most important part. Next up is Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness, and it's just one of the most quotable films for me ever made. And even though it's definitely obviously much more of a comedy than it is a horror or even a horror comedy. I mean, technically it could be a horror comedy, but it's definitely much more comedy than anything else. But every time I watch it, I absolutely just have so much fun, and really at times that's all I ever ask for a film, is I just want to have a good time. And then finally, the last one on my list for the letter A, and that is John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13, a truly amazing and suspenseful film for his second film, although technically it was his first film. I mean, Dark Star was his first film, but Assault on Precinct 13 was his first sort of professionally produced film, if you will. And even though it was still a low budget film, I mean, it really works just so well. Like, you never feel the limitations of the budget. And it just shows right out of the gate just, how talented John Carpenter was from the get-go. So those are my 10 picks for the letter A. Definitely let me know your 10. And if you do actually end up doing a video, definitely let me know so I can watch it. So I am going to try and do these on a daily basis so we have something to watch while we're all trapped inside. So keep an eye out for the letter B. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.